Okay, so today's actually shoot day, and the plan is for me to actually drive out east of San Diego up in the mountains and take some lovely sunset photos. At least that's the plan. Originally, I was thinking of doing it over at the coast, but it's been very foggy lately, and it's just not going to be a good backdrop for this really nice adventure bag that I need to take photos of. So this video is not sponsored by them, by the way, but it is sponsored by EcoFlow because they sent me 3 of their brand new products to try out. And I figured what best way to do that than to go about my day and use the products and share my thoughts at the end of the video. Before we do that, we need to pack up. I did make a checklist, so I kind of know what I need to bring. I'm definitely bringing my Nikon ZF, mainly because it's a fun camera to shoot with. I'm bringing my Action 5 as well as the ZVE1. I will also be needing this. And you know what? Other than the batteries for my DJI Action 5, I'm actually not going to bring any other batteries. I have the 3 chargers by EcoFlow with me. So if I ever need to charge, then I might as well just use them. Since I already have a bag for my camera and other gear, I just need a smaller one to fit the 2 chargers by EcoFlow. There's 2 smaller chargers and 1 medium-sized one. And I think this small bag by Wilton Craft will do well because I've been looking for an excuse to actually use this bag. I bought this a while back, but haven't really used it that much. Plus, I think it matches this adventure bag quite well. So with the amount of gear I'm carrying, I definitely need a power source that is reliable, fast, and definitely portable. And I think the Trail 300 might just fit the bill. All right, so highlights about this power bank. It has a 288 watt hour capacity, has a 300 watt pure DC output, which is basically enough to power about 90% of the gear that I would realistically carry with me to a shoot. Given that it runs purely on DC, it's more efficient because it doesn't have to waste energy converting power back and forth, and there's also no fan noise, which makes it quiet. So I think for an entire day of an off-grid photo shoot, the Trail 300 is more than enough to power all of my devices, and that's including a laptop. Kind of ironic that I live in San Diego because you would think that since I have easy access to the beaches, that's where I would automatically go for photo shoots and stuff. But the reality is, a lot of times it's actually quite foggy. So instead I decided to go drive up east of San Diego. It's about a 45-minute drive from where I live, but I think it's honestly worth it. But the only problem is obviously you're away from an actual power outlet and cell service can be a little spotty. Speaking of power, isn't it great that we now live in a time where I don't really have to worry about bringing extra batteries for my specific camera or device. And I know that every decent photographer or videographer out there will always carry an extra battery just to be safe. And I agree, that is still good practice. But it's hard to deny that having a power bank that can charge all of those really does alleviate a lot of the packing stress. With this Trail 300, you get a total of 5 ports, which are 2 USB-C ports, 2 USB-A, and a 12-volt car outlet. This also allows you to charge a power station in 3 different ways: through the USB-C, through the car port, or using optional solar panels. It's also important to note that this is IP30 rated, which means it offers basic protection against dust and dirt and provides minimal resistance to impact. But I can't deny that the form factor is nice, and the fit and finish, honestly, it feels quite durable. Honestly, sometimes I can't believe that this is, less than an hour away from where I live. It just looks vastly different from what you would expect from a coastal city. This is a good location, but let's see. Actually, not too bad. Right next to the road, I still have cell service here. Oh yeah, look at this. That's also a nice kind of backdrop. Time to set up. Also need to grab this. A few other things you might want to know about this is that the shell is highly resistant to heat, and the USB-C ports can deliver up to 140 watts of power, which is super fast. Also, I know the word compact gets thrown a lot in these sort of videos, but for you to really appreciate its size, here it is next to a can of soda. It truly is compact. I think I'm going to take advantage of the shade here. There's a couple of light streaming through the leaves of the trees. The only thing that sucks is that you really do have to hurry up because as the sun sets, obviously the light changes. So you only have a few minutes to actually take some shots. You know what's kind of frustrating about the Nikon app is that there's like two separate apps. One is SnapBridge and one is Nikon Image something whatever. And I had to figure out which one. Oh boy, I just want to make sure that it's facing the right. Oh boy, stepping on some ants. I haven't really been worrying about the battery because I know I have a power bank. Realistically, if you're used to carrying gear, I think it's small enough to actually fit in a backpack, or at the very least, it's easy to toss in the back of a car. But if portability is your main priority, then I think you might want to consider the Rapid Pro 27K. It's definitely smaller and much more portable, but it still has a 27,650 milliamp capacity with a 300 watt total output. I do like the capacity from this form factor, and it also has a hidden USB-C cord built in for convenience. It's also capable of charging up to 4 devices at once, and a single port can push up to 140 watts, which means that it can take a MacBook Pro, for example, from low battery to something that's much more usable in about half an hour. The LCD screen is nice, although sometimes a little bit too dim, but the only real purpose for me is to check the battery levels. This power bank does not have a USB-A port, even though most of my devices don't really require it, but some people might want to know about that. There's a couple of settings that you can play around using this screen, and you can even connect this to the EcoFlow app, which I have used in the past and actually is quite nice. But I think what makes the Rapid Pro 27K special is that it has its own charging base station, which you can buy separately. Essentially, at the end of the day, when I'm done, I can just plop this on top of the charger and it'll top it off, ready for my next adventure. Maybe I should put it next to the car. Ooh, yeah, this looks good. And get some details of this. You know how sometimes you're just in the zone? That's exactly how I feel right now. Doesn't mean the photos are perfect, but it does mean I'm having fun. And when I'm having fun, usually the photos turn out pretty great. Up against a tire, I think that conveys some sort of adventure-ness. I wish I had a Range Rover, then it would make this photo session even better. I did mention that EcoFlow sent me 3 products, so the third and final one is the Rapid 25K, which looks very similar to the Rapid Pro 27K, but with a slightly smaller capacity at 25,000 milliamps and also a lower total output at 170 watts. You still get the same nice form factor and even the screen, and this one has 2 integrated USB-C cords, one that retracts at the top and one that's actually disguised as a handle or a strap. This cord feels very nicely made and it feels very durable, so I have no problems grabbing it by the cord or by the strap. This has a USB-A port and a USB-C port, which means that you can charge up to 4 devices at once. However, you cannot charge this on the base charging station like the Rapid Pro 27K. But here's something that you might want to know is that if you pair this with a GAN charger, particularly the one made by EcoFlow, it can recharge up to 80% in just under 30 minutes. Even without it, it still charges quickly through the USB-C. So this is something that I would like to bring with me pretty much anywhere, all the time. Since making this video, I've actually used all 3 chargers in different scenarios, and here are my overall thoughts about them. If you want a powerhouse that is fairly compact, that pretty much charges everything that you might possibly need, especially if you're shooting off-grid, get the Trail 300. Because aside from its relatively small size, it offers the most capacity, more charging ports, and also a little bit more versatility in terms of recharging it thanks to its optional solar panel charging. If you want something that has good capacity, really fast charging, but in a much smaller package, plus the convenience of being able to use a charging base station, then the Rapid Pro 27K is the one for you. But I think for most people, including myself, for day-to-day stuff, I think the Rapid 25K is more than enough. This one is really simple, but I really love the built-in USB-C that doubles as a strap. It's just much easier to handle. It does have a decent amount of capacity and it does still charge fast. Even if you're a creator who's always on the go, I think this is just a really great device to always have with you. It's compact, it charges fast, and it's just really convenient to have. It is nighttime and this place is eerily quiet. So it's very nice to actually have a portable power bank that I can use to reliably just charge all of my devices, from my flashlights to this lamp here that I have, so I can easily see what I'm doing. of course, my camera gear, which means I also need to wrap up because it's getting pretty dark. What an awesome view though. Thank you for watching, and thanks to EcoFlow for sponsoring this video, and I hope to see you again on the next one. Take care.